From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, April 5th, 2016. Silver is trading at $15.17 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,235 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $425. Antiwar.com reports newly installed U.S. commander in Afghanistan, General John Nicholson, on Monday conceded that the American training mission for the Afghan military has fallen far behind schedule and that initial hopes to get the Afghans self-sufficient are far away. General Nicholson insisted the delays were the result of heavy fighting year-round in Afghanistan. Previously, the Afghan war had been very seasonal, with a spring offensive and subsequent fighting wrapping up before winter. Growing Afghan casualties meant more recruits to train, and Nicholson said many times the recruits had to simply stop training and go fight against the Taliban. The Afghan military has also struggled to attract competent recruits, facing desertion on a regular basis, with many people sticking around until they get their first check. Nicholson's comments are themselves hardly shocking, but just add to his comments about the struggles 15 years into the U.S. occupation, with expectations that he will urge the White House to send more troops to Afghanistan later this year. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday unanimously ruled that states may continue dividing legislative seats according to total population instead of only eligible voters. In the Evanwell v. Abbott decision, the justices ruled against a challenge to a practice established nationwide in the 1960s in which districts are drawn counting total population. The lawsuit argued that only eligible voters should be counted for district drawing, which would have ignored non-voting citizens such as children, immigrants, and felons. The one-person, one-vote case could have helped Republicans by increasing the number of rural, predominantly white districts at the expense of urban, mostly Hispanic districts. States like Texas, California, New York, New Jersey, and Nevada would have been among the most impacted. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's decision said total population apportionment meets the equal protection demand by rendering each representative alert to the interest and constituent service request of all who dwell in the representative's district. Conservative justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas, who concurred with Ginsburg's decision, said that the decision on choosing a method of how political maps are drawn rests on the public, stating the Constitution does not require an approach. The Daily Decrypt is a Monday through Friday newscast about all the best news in cryptocurrencies and peer-to-peer networks. Know what's hot in the world of digital money, borderless trade, and cutting-edge communications. Available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Facebook video. The Daily Decrypt is the news of the future. Reuters reports Governor Jerry Brown on Monday signed into law a bill raising California's minimum wage from $10 an hour to $15 per hour by the year 2023, making the nation's most populous state the first to boost pay to that level. The move marks the culmination of a deal that Brown brokered with labor leaders and state Democratic leaders and puts California, home to one of the world's biggest economies, at the forefront of U.S. states and cities that have moved to surpass the federal minimum wage, which has remained at $7.25 an hour since 2009. Before signing the legislation, Brown said, "This is about creating a little tiny bit of balance in a system that every day becomes more unbalanced." He added, "There's a lot of anger going on in the presidential campaign, and one of the sources of that anger certainly is the way the average American is being treated." Both houses of California's legislature approved the measure on Thursday, fast-tracking proposed legislation announced 2 days earlier by Brown. Raising the minimum wage has cropped up on many Democratic candidates' agendas ahead of the November elections in the hopes that it could help mobilize voters. Democratic presidential hopeful U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders has called for raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour by 2020. In New York on Monday, Governor Andrew Cuomo signed a bill that will eventually raise the minimum wage in New York City and surrounding areas to $15 per hour. Other parts of the state will see the current $9 per hour rate raised to $12.50 within 5 years. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.